The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to our review show here of WWE Money in the Bank 2023 on July 1st at the O2 Arena, London, England, 18,885 fans. I'm California. This is my co-host here, Juicy Boy. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, brother. Interesting show here today from the O2 Arena in London, England.
That's right.
Money.
Yeah, bro.
Money.
You know, this is the first major event held in London since Insurrection in May of 2002, and England in general since Insurrection in June 2003. I used to love those UK-only pay-per-views. Did you ever watch them, bro?
Well, I have gone back and seen them, but I think this one probably, is probably the biggest show in England that they've probably done since SummerSlam 1992. So I'm excited to get into it here today.
Yeah, bro. All right, well, let's crack on with it then. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match opens the show here. Damian Priest, Butch, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Ricochet, Santos, Escobar, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Match went 20 minutes, 25 seconds. Juicy Boy, take it away, bro.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I think this may have been one of the best men's Money in the Bank matches I've ever seen. It was certainly one of the better multi-man ladder matches that I've seen in any company in a number of years. It had a perfect mix of psychology. Let's actually figure out a reason for this ladder to be in this position so that a spot can then be done surrounding it. It had a great mix of, your crazy stuff with your Ricochet and your Logan Paul. It had some strong style. It had some creativity. This one gets a Juicy Boy recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out because I can't do it justice. I'm going to give the match a A-. I thought that it was a really good Money in the Bank match, and I was pleasantly surprised by the choice of Damian Priest to win the match because I was expecting LA Knight to get the win here. But even though he didn't, I think that still everyone in this match came off like a star. So, no bad things to say about this.
Yeah, well said, bro. I mean, we know how I feel about multi-man ladder matches, and there's been so many already this year. But I did not mind this one. I think half my problem is I'm finding the Money in the Bank concept to be like a bit watered down after so many years. Having guys like Otis win it, having people actually defend the briefcase in like a singles match, I think is a bit weird. I don't know. I've been a little bit over it, but that's because they watered it down and cheapened it. Whereas before it seemed like a very big deal, bro. And of course now we have two. We have a women's and a men's briefcase floating around on the rosters. But you can, obviously look at the crowd and how they lit up every time LA Knight was anywhere near the ladder. Anytime he was prominently featured in the match, they want him to win it, bro. They wanted him to win. So I don't know why the company's like just holding off on him so much, because clearly the fans are with him. I just would love to find out, bro, like what the deal is and why the WWE always fight things like this so much and have done for so many years. I know maybe the company's like choosing who they want to be their next guy or whatever is down the pipeline, but I don't know, bro. What do you think about that? Like, do you think it's a bit stupid of them to not go with him?
Not necessarily, because I think that in this case, they've shown throughout this show that they are executing a number of different game plans to elevate a number of different people. So even though LA Knight did not win the Money in the Bank ladder match here today, I think that he is still on a trajectory to be elevated into, a top position on the roster.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I also thought that the people chosen to be in this match were a bit, it was a bit odd. Guys like Butch or Santos, Ricochet, Nakamura. Obviously they're suited to be in a ladder match. But are they the contenders we think of when we think of the world title? I'm not sure, but that's okay. You know, I also kind of questioned, that US title match in the Elimination Chamber, and those guys nailed it. So, and I was glad Logan Paul did not win this, as per the rumors. That would have been probably a bad decision. But what was the thing that Ricochet did to him? Was it a Spanish fly off the ropes through the tables?
Spanish fly, that was pretty dangerous looking. That's the kind of thing we'd call out AEW for. So yeah. WWE, get your fucking act together. That was bullshit, unnecessary.
It was a little bit too much, I think. So Damian did hit he kind of hit a broken arrow, but he didn't. He just did a suplex, but they still have to call it the broken arrow, even though he didn't really execute a Falcon arrow.
Just say you threw him off the ladder. It's an impactful move.
We don't have to try and force it to be something. If it wasn't executed exactly, then we don't have to call it, the name of the move. Anyway, I was very surprised by Damian winning, but I'm excited for him, and I hope it gets him to the next step. I think it would be really cool if he did cash it and he did become world champion. I think it would be great. As long as they, use that to keep him in a prominent position for some time, and it's not just like one of these, like how they had like a Jinder Mahal was the champion and then he never was in the title picture again, and things of that nature. They've had guys like that as champion, here and there, like the Miz, etc. But anyway, just don't know what they're going to do about LA Knight. Let's move forward, bro. WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler defending against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. 9 minutes flat, this one went. Great to see the women's tag titles finally on pay-per-view. I thought Liv Morgan looked very sexy in that Union Jack outfit. Very nice. Still not fond of the Raquel Rodriguez smiling during her entrance. She's supposed to be a badass. I thought the match was quite good, bro. And I thought Raquel was most impressive. Ronda Rousey doesn't feel as special or a big deal anymore. I'd like your thoughts on that when it's your turn, bro. And I was very surprised by the heel turn. It was a nice surprise, but I don't know if there's any pretense to it when Shayna turned on Ronda. Bit weird that she'd work like most of the match only to just suddenly clock Ronda and choke her out. But we have new women's tag champions. DJ, Juicy Boy, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, my rating is going to be a C-. I think for most of this, it never really got out of that second gear for me. I don't think it was bad. I think everyone looked good. I think the heel turn worked for me at the end. I think the pretense is justified in the fact that Shayna has put in just as many dues in terms of the MMA career and the pro wrestling business, and never had anywhere near the success or the money that Ronda Rousey's been able to make so far. So I think there's a built-in reason for that heel turn right there. Ronda Rousey hasn't felt special basically since her first match in the company. Like, honestly, she hasn't felt like a major star as far as I'm concerned in all that time. Not since it was her and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and that was years ago now.
Yeah.
It's just not there. She doesn't have the passion to do it. This match for me was basically all about the finish. The finish actually got me interested in it. I liked the heel turn. I liked the actual finishing move. I thought that it was a good way to take the belts off of Ronda and Shayna while also giving people a reason to still care about them and not completely burying Ronda Rousey. And it's a little something for Liv Morgan, who is very popular, but perhaps not quite at the level of being the top female in the company just yet.
All right, fair enough, bro. Yeah, it's a bit, I don't know. I felt like they only just got the tag team together and they won the belts. And I just found out the other day that they actually unified the NXT women's tag titles with with it, and I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a bit strange. That's all. To do it so soon after they, just unified the belts and took them off Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. So let's move forward, bro. Let's move forward. Damian Priest has an interview. He played up, he's going to possibly challenge for various championships. And it's just like, no. It's the world title or nothing. Why would anyone do it for any other title?
Yeah,
Probably.
that's one of those things that what they do, like it's one of those two-sided coin things, double-edged sword that WWE is famous for. On one hand, I'm glad they actually are doing post-match interviews right after a guy's won a big match. That's something that we've been missing. It's something that they need to do more of, actually make the interview crew feel like they're staff that work as part of the show. But the other edge of that, the poisoned edge, is that he's trying to get over the idea that, whichever title he challenges for, it'll be exciting. Preemptively trying to build it in people's mind that it'll be okay when he goes ahead and doesn't cash it in on Roman Reigns. As far as I'm concerned, in light of how the main event finished later on, Damian Priest needs to challenge Roman Reigns for that championship and either win or lose. Either that or he needs to be screwed out of his opportunity to challenge Roman Reigns for the world championship. I'm going to already say this right now. Like, okay, it's the first thing that I'm actually getting kind of passionate about here. Like, okay, preemptively, Seth Rollins is very popular right now. Damian Priest and the Judgment Day are very popular right now. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline are very popular right now. No one wants to see Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. If that's the match that you're thinking about doing, Triple H, Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, whoever, stop. Okay? No one wants to see it. No one wants to see it at Hell in a Cell. They don't want to see it at SummerSlam. They don't want to see it at fucking Crown Jewel or whenever it is. He needs to hold on to that briefcase until he can face Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. Right, moving on. What was next?
Well, what about Cody, though, bro? What about Cody?
Yeah, Cody, too, needs a rematch against Roman Reigns at some point because he has a rematch clause, the same rule that has been happening in WWE for fucking 20 years. So...
What rematch clause? He won the Rumble. He lost the match at Mania. What clause?
Because every time you lose oh, no, hang on. Yeah, no, that's true. That's right. He isn't entitled to a rematch. Nonetheless, they didn't really...
He should get
at the moment, I'm actually fine with Cody not being in the world title program as long as they don't shift him into a program with Seth Rollins once again. Like...
I don't want to see that.
No.
We've seen it. That's it. Okay, let's move forward, bro. WWE Intercontinental Championship. Gunther, the champion, defending against Matt Riddle. 7 minutes, 45 seconds. Take it away, bro.
Okay, this match is getting a B+ and a Juicy Boy recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out. These guys fucking wrestled in WXW. They wrestled in Evolve. They wrestled in Progress. They've been at it on the independent circuit over the years. This match deserved a bit more time. I liked the injury angle with Matt Riddle actually having an injured ankle and a fucked up foot. I liked him reversing his way out of that German suplex, but in landing on his feet, obviously he caused a further injury to it. And then later on, that sets up an ankle lock, not one of Gunther's regular finishes, but an ankle lock, taking advantage of the existing injury to retain. Gunther retained his Intercontinental Championship via submission, via the ankle lock, taking advantage of that injured ankle of Matt Riddle. Good psychology, good booking. Like, at this point in the show, I was feeling like, okay, we actually have a show where everything's being treated as important and, like, it matters who wins the Intercontinental Championship match. And there's a story being told with the dominance of Gunther that continues to be threaded through. This didn't really exceed the level of a really good TV match. Like, this could have been the main event of a SmackDown.
Yeah.
However, it didn't really get quite to that pay-per-view gear. That's not the guy's fault. It's an issue of the time that they got. I think a couple of extra minutes would have benefited this one.
Yeah, I mean, that might have been nice if they didn't plod through the show so slowly.
Oh my God.
I hate the stuff, but I always
Seth
skip
Rollins and Finn Balor in particular, bro. That
Yeah.
was like 20 minutes at the beginning before they actually started wrestling. It just felt like it went on forever. Like
Fuck.
them entering and the introductions, it just went on and on and on.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know. They need to look at that. They just stretch it so much because the entrance. I know that the pay-per-views are in very big arenas at the moment, but like it's just
That's got nothing to do with
forever.
it though. WrestleMania 8 had a huge arena with an even longer ramp, and the entrances took 30 seconds each because they sent the guys out there and they were obviously told, get out there, get to the ring, hit the corners. You know, it's just done. The focus is more on the entrances and the pageantry of the arena and everything like that, rather than the fact that they're actually entering for a match. And it's become a problem that they've started to lean too much in that direction.
Yeah, I think because could have been another match on this show. Some of these matches could have had more time, but this is how it is. So anyway, we knew Gunther was going to retain. He has to continue. He has to beat the record, surely. If it's not him, then I don't know who it should be. But I'm really impressed with Ludwig Kaiser, bro. He's killing it with that role. I love the way he spins the jacket of Gunther. It's amazing, dude. It's amazing. Such a small little detail, and it really does a lot. You know what I mean? And I think him and Vinci should take the tag titles off Owens and Zayn at some point. I think Imperium should start to really, dominate. I thought Riddle's hair looked fucking stupid. I don't know what he's thinking having plaited pigtails, but it didn't really make him look intimidating, you know what I mean? He just looks stupid, man. It was a relief, by the way, and I'm sure you were relieved as well to see that Wade Barrett was on this call for this show with Michael Cole, no Corey Graves. How did that make you feel, Juicy Boy? Was that good?
I think both of these guys knocked it out of the park. I think it's refreshing having a proper heel commentator that is actually just trying to be a heel, not trying to get over and constantly like make himself sound funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a bit of a like Corey Graves. He's too into himself. Like, I'm sorry, he is. You can tell that he may not directly think of it in these terms, but he thinks of himself as like the modern day Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's not. He's absolutely not. There has been no equivalent to a modern day Bobby Heenan since that time. And then there's been Jerry Lawler as the comical, lovable heel commentator. There has been no modern day equivalent of either of those two in that role. Wade Barrett being probably the closest to approach that in that time.
I love that I purposely wrote that note in there to bring up with you because I knew it'd get you worked up. I knew you'd get worked up over Corey Graves.
Well, I just feel like I'm being honest. Like, I just feel
great, dude. I like the finish. And then after the match, Drew McIntyre's from fucking Scotland.
Once again, things are happening. Things are happening. There's things going on before and after the matches,
That's it. We've got an angle coming out of this. Thank you. So it'd be good for Gunther to get a solid win over Drew to continue his rise, I think. So I think they're going in the right direction here with Gunther. So let's do you want to move forward, bro? Let's move forward. Coming up next, Cody Rhodes takes on Dominik Mysterio with Rhea Ripley at ringside. 8 minutes and 40 seconds. I don't know. I don't think I have many notes here. I've only got 5 notes. This was fun. I was digging Dominik and Rhea as a package here. I think he's done very well to get to where he's at because I thought he had no hope. I thought like once he's advertised, I used to think like, what's he gonna do? But he's proved me wrong. Cody, it was obvious he was going to win. I read some notes from ProWrestling.net's Jason Powell, He was hopeful of a Lesnar interference and a cheap win for Dominik. But I'm not sure. Don't know.
I don't think that was necessary, having
No.
watched it. I do have to say I'm a fan of Jason Powell. Whenever I've read his articles or heard him speak, I tend to enjoy his analysis. I see where he was coming from with that idea. And had they not already done a fairly good job of threading some angles and some bits and pieces throughout this, I might have agreed that that was necessary. But since they did a fairly good job of adding little extra bits and pieces throughout, I don't think that they needed the Brock Lesnar appearance here. As far as the match itself, I feel like it's an example of a foregone conclusion, but it's a foregone conclusion that everybody wanted to see. Like everyone, the fans know that Dominik's going to probably lose the match, or if he is going to win, it's going to be disgustingly unfair how he wins. So everyone knows, the audience knows that going in. But also, Cody went into second gear, but not third gear in order to win this match. So he still managed to handily win this match, but at the same time, Dominik did far better in this match than he would have done a year and a half ago. So even though it's kind of a foregone conclusion, C+ level match, it served a purpose. Obviously, the main purpose it served in a meta sense is to get both of these guys onto this show. But within kayfabe, I think it also, gives a win for Cody, and it's a prominent position it's something for Dominik to bitch about as well, saying that he could have beat Cody Rhodes, but blah blah blah. So yeah, I thought it served its purpose well.
Did you give it a rating?
Yeah, I gave it a C+. And just in case I forgot, I gave the Matt Riddle Gunther match, I gave that a C+ as well. Would have liked to have gone higher, but it didn't get enough time. So
just couldn't quite get that B-.
No.
I also love the Dom is a wanker chant. Dom is a wanker. Man, the England crowd was I enjoyed them. I have to say. I also thought it was a bit odd that neither women's world title was defended on the show. I don't really get it, bro. Maybe I just need to accept that I'm never going to understand it. Okay, maybe I'm just never going to understand it, and then that's the end of it. Okay.
Well, I just look at it as like they don't really defend every boxing championship or UFC championship on every card. Like,
I understand that.
I don't know. Like, they used the male world champion, like they used Roman Reigns in order to further something else in the main event. So they put him on the card. I think they don't necessarily need a world title match for the women, but you could have had a promo, a sit down, something like that, where you had the women's champion backstage talking about, I don't care who wins the Money in the Bank because I'm going to fuck them up. Something like that, they easily could have done. I agree. It was conspicuous by its absence that there was no involvement from the women's world champions whatsoever on the show.
Yeah, just a bit strange. Anyway, speaking of strange, it was, and I'm not complaining. I thought it was fun to see this all take place, but John Cena shows up, big pop. He's talking about the reason he was there is he wants to get WrestleMania to happen in London, or to happen in England. And the crowd were really excited, obviously. And if it is going to happen in England one day and it gets announced, then that's cool, right? That's really cool. And I'd be really happy for those fans. But if it never happens, this was a weird tease. Because Grayson Waller makes a very unwelcome appearance here. They're trying to give him a bit of a rub here with Cena. And then Grayson Waller's going on about we should be having WrestleMania in Australia. And that made me laugh because there's no way that's happening. But
they'll never do something like that, most likely. But
No, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just thought it was a weird thing for them to be like Grayson's angry at John for getting these fans' hopes up. And
Yeah.
it's just a weird confrontation.
I'll just say this. Like, I didn't like it at all. I actually didn't like it. I felt like, you know, they've already done the thing of having John Cena show back up, and then he ended up, Austin Theory got in his face, and Austin Theory was the young kid that he was going to show, you know, beat some respect into at Mania, and then he puts over Austin Theory, and then he goes away for a while. I honestly feel like, yes, they're in England. Yes, they're doing the London deserves a WrestleMania thing. But, like, honestly, I think this was a mistake, busting him out here, like putting John Cena out here to make this announcement. You're now at the point with John Cena where he's your guy that when you want to pop a number or you want a moment, you can hit that theme music, you can have that theme music go off and everyone's going to go crazy. And they've, you know, they did the thing at WrestleMania. That was, in my opinion, the match at WrestleMania against Austin Theory is the point in Cena's career trajectory where he has transitioned from like top guy to legendary alumni of WWE. He's no longer an active in the mix type competitor. So I think it was a mistake to already have him come out at this pay-per-view and they're like, oh my God, it's the GOAT. And he's talking about WrestleMania in you know, in England. And then they have Grayson Waller come out. I see what they were trying to do in terms of like, let's have an Australian come out. There's that rivalry that's always existed between us, you know, between England and Australia, that frenemy type situation going on between our two countries culturally.
Yeah.
And they're playing on that, and that's fine. But as I said, I mean, you could have easily had William Regal come down the ramp to announce this. You could have had Johnny Saint, the former general manager of NXT UK, come down and announce this. You could have had just about any other talent of British descent come down and make this announcement. And then you could have had Grayson Waller interrupt them and try to get some cheap heat on them, because all it did as well for Grayson Waller by putting him out there was remind everybody of the difference in level between someone like Grayson Waller and somebody of John Cena's stature. Because Cena comes out and it's like, oh, the greatest of all time is making an appearance at Money in the Bank. And then, oh, here's this fucking guy, Grayson Waller. But it's not working in the where it's annoying in a fun way. It happened in a way where it just made Grayson Waller look bad. And it honestly, it seemed like a bit of a waste of time for me. It didn't really work. I saw what they were trying to do, but it's the kind of thing that felt ill-conceived, and it didn't have the impact that I think that they were hoping for it. Certainly not on TV. Like, the people in the arena might have loved it, but as far as like a worldwide audience, I think a number of us were just sitting there going like, yeah, all right, like, let's move it along, you know?
Yeah, I just, because like the thing is that nothing was actually announced. They didn't say that this is definitely happening on this date, WrestleMania 41 or anything. Nothing was actually announced, like as it said, with it being set in stone. So I think if they don't actually do it, then this was really mean to get those fans and their hopes up. I hope they do get a WrestleMania. But again, I just thought it was a bit of a stretch that Grayson and John were having a confrontation here over this topic. I just thought it was a bit weird. That's all. It's like really stretching for some sort of issue.
It didn't work. It's the kind of thing that
if, you know,
like if AEW did it, bro, we'd be shitting on it, man. Like, we have to be honest about that. Like, we'd be like, what the fuck was Tony doing? So
it's lazy.
Yeah, this was WWE doing exactly the same thing we'd criticize the other company for in this segment. It was just didn't really work at all.
Let's move forward, bro. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match up next. Io Sky, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, Selena Vega, and Zoe Stark. 18 minutes, 5 seconds. Take it away, bro.
Yeah, I think that this suffered from being the second Money in the Bank match on, as we've said previously at Hell in a Cell pay-per-views and TLC pay-per-views and, excuse me, previous editions of Money in the Bank. I still believe that they need to alternate it where only one of the rosters gets the headline match per gimmick pay-per-view. So if you had the women's Money in the Bank this year, then the women are going to be in the Money in the Bank match and the men are going to have the Elimination Chamber, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That's how I really feel, because no matter what you do, no matter which division, you know, goes on first, and no matter what order they put the matches on, you're now doing 2 of these Money in the Bank matches where previously, you know, one of them was all you could expect once a year, and it used to be a huge spectacle. And since the men had a particularly good showing this year, I felt like it made the women's match look lesser by comparison in a way that was unfair to them, because I feel like the women did a great job as well in their Money in the Bank match, particularly Zelina Vega, Trish Stratus, and Zoe Stark. I thought that they all nailed it. Loved the decision to actually have Io Sky win the match. Loved the fact that she fucked over Bayley and Becky to get it. Like, they're always there thinking that they're like the 2 most important women in WWE, blah, 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 NXT, Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Get fucked. Io Sky outsmarts them, wins the fucking match by handcuffing them to each other. They can stick with each other. I like the fact that somebody else won the match. I thought that Trish Stratus looked outstanding. You know, like my brother Nick was saying to me, he felt like Trish looked like she belonged perfectly in the current era. Like, she just has that star quality. Zelina Vega doing the sunset flip onto Zoe Stark, off the ladder onto another ladder. Hell of a bump, hell of a spot by both ladies. That was a highlight for me. As I said, this thing's getting a C+. You know, I thought it was good, but again, it's overkill, especially on these big, almost 4-hour shows. So,
yeah, I'm with you with when you said we do the Money in the Bank with the women this year, but we don't do it with the men. We do it with the men the next year, but the men get the Elimination Chamber the next one, and then you keep swapping over. Like, I don't want 2 War Games matches. I want a men's War Games match, and the women can do a traditional Survivor Series match, and then the next year the ladies can have the War Game, and you know, exactly, bro. Like, I think that will make it a bit more special, don't you think? Fuck
yeah.
But I thought this was the best women's ladder match I've ever seen. Sometimes it's a little, it's tough for them because the ladies are smaller than the men. So to take big bumps off the ladder and onto the ladder is very tough for them because they're smaller, you know, and you don't want them to get hurt. But props to Trish and Zoe. I think their package together is working very well. And I was proud of Trish, you know, once again showing she can do it. I definitely did not want Bayley or Becky to win, so I'm echoing you. It's kind of enough already with them in the main event scene as far as I'm concerned. Like, we've seen it. It's done.
Send them back down a little bit.
Yeah.
Let them do something else for a while. Call them back up later.
Exactly. You know, it'd be good to see some different people in that spot. That's all. Of course, I wanted Trish to win because I thought that just would be funny and interesting to see where it went. But the sunset flip bomb, as you said, bro, like, honestly, that was... I've seen people try and do that spot before with the ladder bridge, and it never hits flush. But I think that they nailed it, those two, Zelina and Zoe. And speaking of little, like, Zelina is so little. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing about her. Like, when she gets hit with a big move, like, she's so light. There's no real impact, you know. She can't help it. She's just so small. But I don't know. I worry that she's going to get hurt badly sometimes. That's all. So yeah, great spot with the handcuffs. I don't really have much else to say. I don't know if Damage Control should break up just yet. I guess they're coming up on a year being together as they debuted at SummerSlam. I'm aware Dakota Kai has a torn ACL or something like that. So maybe they think it's time to split the thing. But yeah, EO Sky winning, another nice surprise. Another thing that I read this week, Juicy Boy, before we move on to our next matchup, Bayley was talking about how she keeps begging the former Sasha Banks to come back to WWE. Do they need her? Do they really need her at this point? We've got enough ladies on the roster now. We've got enough people that are
honestly,
ready to be stars.
There was a time where it seemed like Sasha Banks was like the future of the women's division, like it was going to be her and Charlotte and Becky and Bayley, the four of them up there. For whatever reason, they decided at some point that they were going to downgrade Sasha Banks somewhat, move her further down to the mid card, while Becky and Charlotte especially continued to stay up at the top. And I think that perhaps Sasha herself felt this way, and I know a number of fans online felt this way, that Sasha should have been one of the, out of those four women that I just named, Sasha should have been one of the people that was elevated into the world title picture, not one of the people that was de-elevated down to the mid-card / tag team division as she was. So that seems to have been the wrap around Sasha Banks in WWE and why she left and everything like that. Honestly, I think she's very talented and all that shit, but WWE, I don't really think they're missing a whole lot without her being there. Like, I'm not saying that to be a dick or to be mean or to diminish the fantastic matches that she's had. I'm not taking any of that away. And, I'll happily check out big matches that she's in New Japan or whatever. But, in regards to Bayley actually sort of saying like, oh, come back, Sasha, to do what? Like, take a spot away from one of these other women that's already started to come up in the meantime.
Yeah.
And then what? So that there are now 7 or 8 women on the roster that can do a lot of the things that Sasha rose to prominence being able to do. So she's an innovator and an originator as far as that independent style, that physical style in terms of women's wrestling. But, I kind of think that her zenith has passed her by. I'm not saying that that's a permanent state of being, that she can never come back to being like a top women's star, but currently she's on a downswing. Other people are on an upswing. That's just how it is when you're a wrestler, and I'm sure for many other forms of entertainment as well, music, acting, what have you. I don't really think that there's a spot for her currently in the WWE women's scene.
Yeah, because I even think to myself, when Charlotte's not there, I'm not missing her. She's already accomplished everything.
I don't even miss Charlotte when she's not there, and I think Charlotte's a great performer as well. But it's just,
I'm sick of the whole thing where she goes away for a while and comes back and wins the title, then drops the title at whatever WrestleMania, then leaves again. It's enough already. But anyway, let's move forward, bro. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship here. Seth Rollins defending against Finn Balor. Match went 12 minutes, 30 seconds. To be honest, I didn't actually pay much attention to this match. I feel bad. I don't know why. I just wasn't into it, and I just didn't really care. I don't know what it was.
I felt the same. I felt like I felt like it was flat. Who's going first? Who's going to go first?
Well, I mean, I didn't watch it, so I saw the finish. That's all I saw.
All right, so I'll just blow through here. So I'm going to give this match a C-. I think that these two had better matches when they feuded for the Universal title in 2016. Thereabouts. Even maybe it was a bit before that. Maybe it was even 2015. Either way, I feel like this match kind of had the dead spot on the show, not because these guys aren't both very talented, but because I just think that it was unnecessary on the show. Like much like how we said earlier that a Brock Lesnar appearance wasn't needed. I really don't think that this match, this World Heavyweight Championship that Seth Rollins currently has, that he won in this tournament, this World Heavyweight Championship doesn't really fit right now in WWE. It exists only to give somebody else who's not Roman Reigns a prominent championship to defend and to give other talent something to. And all championships, you know, outside of kayfabe, the reality is all championships serve as props, storytelling devices, same as the Money in the Bank briefcase, same as the Dynamite Diamond ring, same as a contract for a championship match, whatever it may be. They're all plot devices. However, this one feels like an extra one that they've quickly created and conjured up once they realized they didn't want to pull the trigger on Cody beating Roman Reigns. And this match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor exemplified that. Because Finn Balor, as part of the Judgment Day, been having probably the best run of his WWE career. Seth Rollins, he's doing the crazy. He's always been he's been a top guy for a long time, but he's doing things right now that entertain people and interest people. And he looks like he's having fun, and it looks like he's enjoying being creative and getting to really sort of like let go after years of faithfully doing everything the company asked him and knocking it out of the park. They're sort of letting him run a bit looser because he's earned that, and he's enjoying it. So both of these two guys going into this match were doing well, but you put them together and it's just fucking flat, bro. There's just no heat on the match. You know,
that's true.
The crowd likes both of these guys. Both of these guys are in tremendous condition. They both have tremendous costumes. They both absolutely look the part. They're tall, they're muscular, they're athletic, their movements are explosive, but it just wasn't there. And especially in light of what we saw in the main event, the Bloodline Civil War. It just goes to show how important it is to actually have a story and some heat on a match going into it, because I actually had to rewind this match several times because I kept on sort of zoning out and doing other things and then realizing like, oh shit, I've missed it and it's nearly over. Like at one point I turned away during the entrances while I was cooking something. When I turned back, it felt like I'd been gone for about 10 minutes. It still felt like the entrances. It just was like, fucking hell. It just felt like this match is in the way. It doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really put it any more than how I've just said it. That's all I can really say about it. It was a disservice to both guys involved. It's proving people right that thought that the World Heavyweight Championship that they've just introduced was going to be nothing more than a consolation prize. And I tried my best to be positive about it, and I still want to feel positive about it, but they've just used it like a consolation prize right here. This is what people are talking about when they say it's always going to be secondary to Roman Reigns. Your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, no, I agree, because like Roman's walking around there with three championship belts, you know, but like when I saw that this, you know, the video package, this match coming up next, I was like, I completely forgot. I completely forgot this was on the card. I had just, and I was like, oh, like, you know, like my shoulders slumped. I was like, I've got to sit through another fucking match before we get to the match that I actually want to see. And I didn't feel like that with any other match on the show. So yeah.
I also felt like that about the women's tag titles, like honestly, and nothing against them, but I also was like, ugh, like why is this on here? It's not really had a proper build. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. What was I gonna say? like you could they tried really, 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 really hard to make people care about the issue between these two going into it. They kept having Balor beating the fucking shit out of Rollins. You know, he attacked him on NXT, he's attacking him every week on Raw. He really but it's still, even no matter how much they tried to put into the build to this, still it felt like no one cared. And yeah, but anyway, with I thought the ending was a bit concerning because you got Ronda and Shayna splitting, the hint of Sikoa and Reigns maybe splitting, possibly, maybe the hint of Damage Control splitting. I don't know if we need Priest and Balor splitting when the Judgment Day is a really good stable right now.
They should, no, I didn't like that either. They shouldn't be splitting at all. It's fine to have Damian Priest tease that he's going to cash in and for them to talk about that. But they definitely shouldn't have had the little shoving thing at the end. There shouldn't have been anything more than like maybe a stern look exchange between them. That should have been as far as it went.
Yeah, because like Priest kind of walking toward the ring as Balor was, poised on the top rope to do the coup de grace. That being the distraction that led to Balor losing. I just I don't think it's time for that yet. We've already got that story being told like several times on the roster right now. So let's just take it easy. Okay, anyway, there's a pointless interview with Owens and Zayn. I'm sure they just wanted to get them on the show, get the pop, because Sammy's very popular, right?
Flat as a plate of piss. To quote you. I'm going to say that. Like, the fact that it was throwaway doesn't make it immune from criticism, even though it's not really worthy of any constructive analysis. Like, why fly these guys to London? Why have them there? You know, it doesn't. It actually detracts from the bigness of the show by having these random people there and just cutting to them. Oh, we're not having a match, but we've got the tag team champions here in a fucking skybox to talk about. If you're gonna have them on, then why aren't they in suits at a press conference fielding questions or something? And maybe you have a tag team from NXT UK or someone that we haven't seen before confront them and say like, well, we're a new tag team and we're starting up on fucking SmackDown or Raw soon, so we're gunning for you guys. You know, they could have done something like that. They didn't. It was a wasted throwaway interview, waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, they should have started an angle with them and a challenging team that's coming their way. I don't know. Like Imperium, I don't know. Maybe not Imperium. But okay, look, let's just get to the main event already here, bro. The Bloodline Civil War. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa taking on the Usos. Match went 32 minutes, 10 seconds. Before I throw it to you, Michael Cole noted that Reigns had been champion for 1,035 days, and he said the last time Reigns was pinned or submitted was December 15th, 2019. So, Juicy Boy, take it away. What do you think of the main event here between the Bloodline?
Yeah, so I won't take up too long here. I'm going to give the match an A+. It's another entry in the Bloodline saga. When this thing first started, because I knew that this would be backloaded. It was going to be a match where you were going to have to get to the back end before you were really going to see what we all showed up to see. It's that kind of match. It's that kind of storyline. It's been that kind of angle and program throughout this whole thing. I love the long-term storytelling of tying it back in with the Usos. The whole thing started with Roman Reigns right after he became turned heel and returned at SummerSlam in 2019. A couple of months later, he generously offered his cousin Jey Uso the opportunity to face him in the main event of a pay-per-view, where he basically said to him in a nice but backhanded way, I'm going to give you this opportunity. I'm going to give you a payday. Like, you're my cousin. I love you. I'm going to give you a payday. I'm going to beat you. But we're going to have a championship match. We're going to tear the house down, put food on our table for our families. Jey then came too close for comfort to actually beating his cousin Roman Reigns That started the whole thing of Roman beating his cousins into submission. That then led into the whole thing of the Usos being in the bloodline, which then led to the Sami Zayn stuff. Meanwhile, Solo debuts on NXT. Boom, they bring him down. It dovetails in. Everything's matching up. That's where we're up to now.
Yeah.
That's what all culminated here at this show. So that's kind of the soap opera version of where we are. The match itself, I felt like it started off slow and I was going, oh, maybe they're over-relying a little bit too much on the gravitas of the storytelling elements to kind of get this thing over, because they are still doing quite a long match, but they also they didn't do very much for a lot of it. They kind of kept it in low gear for the first sort of half of it.
Yeah.
Then obviously, I mean, this thing's got a Juicy Boy recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out, because I can't do it justice. There were a number of great callbacks to previous spots that we'd seen in Bloodline matches. There were a number of great moments where you could tell, okay, within storyline and outside of storyline, these are family members that know each other. So that kept on playing into everything they did in the match. I thought that it was fantastic. I liked the fact that Jay got a pinfall on Roman Reigns and that they made a big deal out of that. I am concerned immediately for Jimmy. I would like to see Jimmy perhaps get a win over Jay at some point to sort of give Jimmy something extra as well to elevate him to the same level, because now you kind of have Jay, Jimmy, and Jimmy is now slightly below Jay because only one of them's pinned Roman Reigns. So I'm slightly concerned about that. But as far as the actual execution of everything, I thought it was really well done. I will say, before I throw it over to you, my friend, though, I'm, for better or worse, rightly or wrongly, I'm about ready for this Bloodline storyline to wrap up. Like, I'm ready for Roman to actually get a new challenger that's not Brock Lesnar, that's not connected to the Bloodline, that's not someone that he's faced before a million times. Like, I'm ready for some new blood up there. I'm ready for a Cody rematch, and I'm ready to see him mix it up with some other people. Who that would be, I don't know, because it feels like he's wrestled just about everybody. But this Bloodline stuff and the long tag matches and the 50 super kicks and stuff, it's been working in the context of what they've been doing. It's been working really well, but I feel like I've officially had my fill as of this match here at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. But I thought this was the best match of the show. I don't think it mattered that it went 32 minutes, because usually I complain about long matches. It didn't feel like it was 32 minutes long. I didn't worry about it because I was invested in the storytelling. Every time this Bloodline story has got to the pay-per-view, the story told in the match on the pay-per-view is always so deep. And that's what sucks me in. That's what I like about wrestling. They didn't need to do a million things. They don't need fucking Tiger Driver 91s. They don't need to try and kill each other and all that stuff just to get a pinfall victory.
Yeah, just quickly. Like, this match that we saw here, this Bloodline Civil War, this was a better match than Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. That's
exactly the next sentence I've written down.
This was a better match than Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. Okay,
and people will be so. You can only imagine what people would say in response to that. Oh, fuck off, man! Fucking here's 6 stars, here's this.
That match got 6 stars. How about this? 1 fuck you, 2 fuck yous, 3 fuck yous, 4 fuck yous, 5 fuck yous, 6 fuck yous. This match was better. Deal with it. Sorry, go ahead, my friend.
That's fine, bro. It's just fuck off, man. Roman finally getting pinned, right? And it's not because he's been shot with a bazooka,
because he got
it was because the Usos are more experienced as a team. They weathered the storm with Reigns and Sikoa. Once Sikoa was done for because he went to the well one too many times to try and get one of these Usos eliminated from the match, Reigns finally had nobody else to rely on, and that's what led to his downfall. That's why he held the belt for so long, because every time, every time he had it himself backed up against the wall, they helped him fucking retain. They helped him every single time. Finally, now he had no one left. Paul Heyman's reaction to Roman actually getting pinned, amazing. So I really liked it, and there's a couple of moves that it took to get him pinned, but splash off the top rope, 1, 2, 3, crowd hop. And I'm assuming Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam. I am also concerned about Jimmy, because I feel like a lot of the story that was going on before the Sami Zayn split from the bloodline and all that, a lot of the story seems to have been about Jay and Roman, and I think Jimmy needs a little bit of something as well. So it'll either be that, or perhaps Jay, Jimmy, and Roman in a triple threat match at SummerSlam. I don't know how they arrive at that, but I'm also wondering how at this point they're going to eventually circle back to Cody and Roman. Does Jay beat Roman for the belt? Does Cody? I don't know, man. It's interesting though. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're gonna do. But I like that I'm not really sure, because I feel like they put themselves in a situation where they now have options, things that they can do. One final thing that I do have to add is, just because it's WWE and because there's a level of professionalism and quality, this main event still contained too many super kicks.
Yeah, I agree.
And there was still several instances of somebody hitting a signature or a big move, only for that move to be no-sold and returned immediately with another move by the opponent who just copped a move. Oh, no selling the fucking super kick, I'm hitting a Superman punch. Oh, no selling the Superman punch, I'm hitting a super kick. It's just, you can get away with it sometimes, but it's annoying when we see it in Impact or AEW. It's annoying when we see it in WWE as well. Don't want to be a hypocrite. It needs to be called out. This was a great match, worthy of an A+. Nonetheless, there's still a few little times where it's getting a little bit much with the no selling of moves.
Yeah, I agree, bro. All right, well, there we have it, everyone. It's Money in the Bank review. But at this point, Juicy Boy, I will need your rating out of 10.
I'm going to give Money in the Bank 2023 from the O2 Arena in London, UK, a 7.5. People may be surprised. They may think that's a little bit low. I just feel like the matches on this card were spaced out a lot, and there was a lot of fluff and filler. And there were a number of matches that really needed a few extra minutes to get this up to an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 pay-per-view, which it could have been. So it's a shame it's not a little bit higher. However, I still thought this was a great effort by WWE. And I think that Money in the Bank match is going to be difficult to top for quite some time as far as ladder matches go.
Yeah, well said, bro. I'm echoing that. I'm going to say 7.5 out of 10 as well. Not quite an 8, but not bad enough to be a 7, so it's got to be 7.5. I enjoyed the show for the most part. Although they do plod along still, that's probably my biggest pet peeve about the company. I would have enjoyed a few more different kind of palate cleansers and flavors on the show, but that's okay. So 7.5 out of 10. I'm never walking out of these WWE pay-per-views too disappointed, So that's a positive thing, at least, bro. Thank you very much for your time here, Juicy Boy. This has been a very fun experience.
Yeah, no, you're very welcome, and thank all of you. You've been watching JOOSEYBOY alongside California, and this has been our review show of Money in the Bank 2023 from the O2 Arena in London, in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And we will see you down the road.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get
following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.